Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond the Lines. My name is Sarah, I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and today it's time to have another gray video. The weather outside probably is gray in your area too, though I totally hope that this is not the case, because I got gray weather outside and whew, I need some color, I think. But not today in the video. Hey, I'm rambling. Wow. Guess what? The title of the video already gives it away. It's all about the colors, monochromatic coloring, what colors do, how I use them. And the medium I'm talking about this time is Indian markers. So I took the trusty coloring book from last week where I already worked with the Copic markers or alcohol markers. And like I announced there, I did color the second page, and I'm going to talk to you about how I separate things background from foreground, and how I age things, and how I make sure that with maybe a very busy pattern or busy scenery, busy picture, I don't add too much busy color. It's not gonna make sense right now, but it will later, so join me. Hi everybody, here we go. It's time to do some gray work. In the last video I did work on this robot with Copic markers, and I used, well, gray tones. And today I want to show you how I like to work a little differently when it comes to Indian ink markers, so not the alcohol markers that I was working with last week. And for that I'm taking a combo of the Tombow markers and this one Zig Clean Color Real brush pen that I do have in a mid gray. This is a warm gray, neutral gray, cold gray, and of course a black, because a black is always allowed in these kind of videos. And I do have a water brush. I also do have the Faber-Castell Pitt brush pens with me. They are not water soluble, so I'm going to leave them aside for now because I want to use them on the pipes for the details. But there's quite the background, and I think it's just nice to show you maybe how I work differently than I do with the Copic markers, with a very limited supply when it comes to materials or markers in this case, but also how I maybe change a little thing here and there when I work with the same color scheme as I did with, well, the alcohol markers. So in this coloring book, like I had said, I don't care about the back page, so I'm not gonna have to put anything in between to save things, because I'm not gonna work on those pages. So I can be rather careless in this case, and I'm having this plastic sheet here to put my marker down so that I can pick it up with my brush, because I find that I can work with this way a little better, instead of having the marker on the paper and then spread the pigment there. On this particular paper, which is not meant for watercoloring, I find it a little easier to apply color this way. And what I want to do is I want to have something like a concrete wall as a backdrop here, maybe like I don't know, sorry, in a storage room or in the basement of whatever kind of building. So I'm not only going to apply the cold gray there, but also the mid gray and eventually the warm gray. And I just want to have this look like maybe a not so fresh wall anymore. I'm not going to smooth out everything there, but I don't want to have it too busy either, because I want the pipes to be in the foreground and they will be, well, busy looking. But yeah, this is what I'm going for. So sorry for the squeaky noise. I hope I can get rid of that as much as I can in post-production. But on these plastic palettes here, these markers really squeak a lot. Sorry. I'm still working through my cold. I mean, you know that I'm filming quite ahead. So it's late November that I'm filming this. And I'm still working through my cold that I brought home from vacation, because that's what you do when you're not used to AC and have lots of people around you who bring their own bugs and germs to a con. That just happens. So I'm just really very roughly putting things down here. You can see I'm not making everything super smooth, because again, an old basement concrete wall is probably not gonna look pristine. So I'm going to go about it for the rest of the page, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to speed that up because I want to take the real-time footage for the pipes, then maybe where I want to explain to you what the difference is, or when I put down a little more shading and such at the background. So here's some music, and see you on the flip side. So at this point, I'm going to bring in the mid-gray from the Zigs. It's quite the dark brownish color, as you can see here. And I think it makes for a nice rusty basement kind of look. If I put it in here and there, not all over the place, but, you know, under the pipes where it's maybe a bit dripping or where there's a shadow. So I think the light just comes simply from the top. I have no other indication on where maybe the light comes from, so I'm just going to add the next layer on top and go around the page and add a little of that mid-gray here and there to have a bit of a basement feeling going on. And again, I'm just doing the same thing as I did in these few bits here, so I could actually time-lapse it. I just want you to know that I didn't dry the page in between, so I have to make sure that the paper doesn't peel on me. So I just gotta be a bit careful. But other than that, it's no work of witchcraft. It's just one thing at a time. Okay, I got this done, and now the next step would be for me to figure out what pipe, what little wheel or screw or something is supposed to be what color. And I want to use the Faber-Castell Pit Brush pens for that, because they're not water soluble and I can have a bit more oomph in the colors with them. Also, I have a wider range of colors. Excuse me. So I'm taking all the grays. The black is gonna stay in there. If I want black, I will take the Tombow marker. But I do have a Payne's gray here, which is, or a dark indigo actually, but it's a Payne's gray. And cold grays and warm grays. So I will, look at this page. Usually if I wouldn't work monochromatic, I would have yellow or something yellowish for the bulbs here. I would have red or orange somewhere, as when you look at piping in a house, there's some colorful security color thing going on. Same here with the buttons and such. I can't do that in this piece because, well, I'm working monochromatic. So what I want to do first is figure out, I think the pipes should be a cold gray, and they should be maybe in just 2 tones, so like a light and a dark, maybe a medium and a dark. And all the other colors, all the other warmer tones, plus the Payne's gray, should be in all the wheels and things and such. And those bolts here and the cables and I don't know what. So what I'm gonna do now is go in with a lighter tone from the darker side. Oh, it's actually quite the dark one. So I'm taking... I forgot that it was quite heavy, so I'm gonna take the lightest cold gray with me as well, and I'm going to just color the pipes, starting with the dark, and then going in from the lighter side and bringing the two together. Now they don't work like alcohol markers at all. They do not blend like that, but still you can get a nice transition going if you know how. So let's see, let's take another of those same size big pipe things. So I'm squiggling from the left and the lower part, because where those stripy bits are, I think there could be a darker thing going on, like a shadow. So I'm just going like this, and for whatever reason, I don't know where the light source is. Probably there's gonna be light on the ceiling and not only on top of some of those pipes, but that makes it with a lighter tone. I can even go on top once more and make it even darker here and there to have the really dark shadows going on. Let's see, this is a excuse me, another one of those pipes that has pretty much the same size, same diameter, like this. Boop, 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 boop. Maybe,
Yeah, let's just go with this one next. It is a little thinner, but not too thin to fit in the same color scheme as the other pipes that I just colored. So I'm going about it just the same way and building my piece like that. And I'm being kind of squiggly with the lines here. I'm not being super precise, but still I want to have the background stand back, because it's in the name, it's a background, but I don't want to be super wild with the way I color, I mean with the squiggly lines. But I also don't want to just have straight lines in those pipes when I color. So I have to make sure that I'm not staying too straight and too calm, but also not too wild with the way I put color down. And that is way more in regards to the texture than the shade. So this is very different. This is, no matter what kind of color, this is different from Copic markers or alcohol markers, like here on the left hand side, to Indian ink markers. Sorry, like here on the right hand side. So now I need to change up colors a bit. I have the light and the medium. Now I need to have a dark. Maybe you should be dark, very dark gray. And a medium gray. So by just changing things very subtly, not having 50 shades in between the tones that I put down beforehand and the tones that I'm putting down now, I calm this piece down. Similar things, similar shades, similar colors make a coloring page, a drawing, or a painting calmer. The further you are apart with your shades and the more shades you have when you use multiple colors, the more busy something gets. And then the question is, what are complementary colors and what are contrasting colors? But that is something for one of the videos where I color a whole scenery and not just a little thingamajig in a monochromatic piece. So I'm not gonna speak to that now. I do so in all the Outlander coloring pages and the Magical City coloring pages. So now that I have those down, I need a little more of the darker bits, but let's cap you and move to the mid and the dark like I used here. And I think the next one to work with like that is this piece here. So this is a bigger pipe, and there I think I want to shade from the left and from the right just to make sure the viewer can see that this is a bigger pipe, that it has nothing to do with the pipe that runs like this, because I actually used the lighter tone that I'm using here for the darker tone in the adjacent pipes. So just to make sure that they look different enough, I'm going with the dark tone to the left and to the right. With these markers, you gotta be careful in the coloring books. If you have bleed through, I don't care on this page, so I can just go add it. But if you care about bleed through, you want to have something laying in between or work on one-sided pages only. But the same principle applies for any watercoloring or, I don't know, any drawing that you do, any anything. So I'm showing you no matter what paper I'm using. So this is the lower part of the pipe. So of course this will have shading from the top pipe that goes horizontal. And let's bring in a bit of the light. And then going in with the dark again. And this pipe, as you can see, it goes on here. So be that behind the wheel. And there I find it easier to go in with the light first because I don't have a lot of room to color. So I'm just gonna use the darker gray as an accent tone and have the middle visible. I'm leaning towards having all of those wheels be dark gray and black. So to have a contrast, I will have a bit of the lighter part behind the oh, what's it called? Behind the wheel. So here there's a thing with bolts and such, so I don't want to color over that because I want this to stand out in the end too. And that is why I reserve a warm gray for it. So, but still, just gonna bring in a bit of the dark tone and then fill in everything with the lighter parts, just going over it. And of course the rest of the pipe will get the same treatment. Now there's another pipe going south here that connects to this one, and then there's another pipe also going down connecting to this one. So I think this one here should be one of the lighter tones again. So I'm going to take the mid-tone, have this as a shading color. And fill it in with the lighter gray, and they're all cold grays, like I said in the beginning. I reserve the warm grays for other pipes or for any screws or knobs or whatever is on those pipes in the cellar. And now I can move forward with the other pipe that connects. It would be this. Let's go with south of that horizontal pipe. For now, it's a little easier to blend things together when the marker is still wet. Again, this is not even close as blendable as alcohol markers, but that is fine. I still can have some blending going as long as the marker is wet. So, I mean the marker that I blend into, and I think that's makes sense, right? Let me know if I don't make any sense. It sometimes happens to me as well. And again, bringing in the lighter tone. Okay, let's see. Here's another medium pipe. But I like to have the medium pipes in these or colored with these 3 shades, it seems. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna quickly stop my vlogging camera because I think I got enough footage. There we go. And I need a sip of tea. It's actually really chilly in my studio today. That always happens on stormy weather days. So let's move forward. Since I established I want to keep these 3 markers going for the medium-sized pipes, I think this one here should get the dark treatment because this one is crossing with the lighter treatment. So I'm going to have this with the darkest cold gray. And this connects, of course, here as well. And then it has the last curve going like so. So just to make sure that I'm not getting too busy again, I will put in some of the smaller pipes that I know I want to have with the Payne's Gray. So these are too thin, so I don't want to have a lot of fussing going on with these. So I'm just solidly gonna fill them in. Maybe they have some, I don't know, heat protection, like there's some rubber that you sometimes have around pipes just to not have any heat or anything go away too fast. So maybe it's one of those pipes. But I think by putting in some just solid gray without any shading anything. I separate the painting or the scenery maybe a bit. Again, calm it down, and with those leaky bits here in the background, this is quite busy for my taste, so I need to have some calmer and less busy parts, and I think it will work perfectly with those thinner pipes. Like maybe those curvy bits here too, those curvy pipey things, whatever they are. Connectors? I have no idea. But just to have a few things around the page that are one-dimensional or something. Maybe, yeah, that's the same size of the pipe, so you go in one shade as well. See, for one, that's really fast to put down color in these cases, but also it structures, it calms right away. Now for those remaining bigger pipes. Oh, I forgot one. See, there's a small one. Let's do some more calm things first. So things that I know how they're supposed to be and that they're going to be one-dimensional. But this one here actually has to be dark because the pipe connects. So in order for me to know how busy I can make the remaining pipes, I find it very easy, or way easier, to draw in, color in things that I'm absolutely sure about how they're supposed to go. And there comes the black. And I know that I want the wheels dark, and by dark I mean black. Also quite one-dimensional. Maybe they've got some rubber going on as well. The only thing that I'm going to leave is the dot here in the middle. There will be some white gel pen maybe. Those bows are going to be the same way. Including those bulky things at the bottom. Same goes for these bits here. Make the connectors really dark. Ooh, see, there's another connector and another thin pipe. So I can already color them in. Okay, there we go. All right, next one goes here. That's a bit of a part of like these bow things. I don't know what they're called. Screws, twisty bits, whatever they're called. This piece is part of that piece. I think this is another of those. You are a connector bit. You are, and you are, I feel like Oprah. You are a connector and you are a connector. I think this is going to be a small pipe, so I'm just going to, and by small I mean thin, just going to put that bit in. Here's another of these bulbs, so I'm just going to color the outside of the wheel thing, the wheel opener thing, black as well, and another of those screws. And another of the wheels. Boop, boop. Oh, another of the screws. And last but not least, this big wheel here. And then I can take the next look and see, okay, what do I want to do now? Where am I sure I want a light tone? Where am I sure I want a cold tone? Because I think I'm going to move forward to the warm grays now. The warm grays have a bit more of a brownish tone, not a blue tone like the cold grays. So we will probably see where I want that next. Maybe, hold on. I don't know. I was just thinking maybe I want the lower parts of the... actually I do. So you are black, and you are black, and you are black. And you are too. Okay, the others, I don't know what I want to do with them yet, but here, there we go. I was looking for the cap for a moment. So, pipes and warm grays. I do have 3 warm grays, dark, medium, and light. And I think I want to have medium and dark for the rest of the pipes and then bring in the light warm gray for details. So I'm going to start with the dark. Sorry if you hear my stomach gurgle, but it is soon dinner time and I didn't really have anything to eat yet today and only very little yesterday. So I think my stomach tells me it needs something to eat. It needs food. But I want to finish this video first, so I hope I can edit out the gurgling. If not, I'm so sorry. You can definitely tease me for it. It's fine. You can also have a counter. Like, how often does Sarah's tummy gurgle? Shall we have a bet? So, going in with this. It's a bit harder to color around the screws because I can't just put a light color on top. If I mean, I could if I wanted to go with gel pen, but I don't know if I want to go with gel pen yet. So, I mean, these screws here, so it's a bit trickier to bring in the pigment in the right way. Not have it look wonky, but cohesive. There we go. I don't think about the screws and whatever this is yet. That will happen later. But here's the next pipe. And just because of the curvature of the pipe, I like to bring in the shading a bit with a curve as well. I think it just looks less weird, a little more natural in the way things are lit. So next pipe, there is the dark side. No, this is not in the Death Star. I'm pretty sure these pipes are not in the Death Star, but they could be. I mean, who knows? But definitely the lower part or the inner part of the curvy bit in the pipe, so this part here is always going to be shaded. The one on top will always have more light if you have light coming from the top and not from the bottom. And in the beginning of the video I said I would just have the light come straight down. So that's why I shade on the lower part of the pipe and on whatever part of the pipe is curved inwards. Sorry, I don't mean to cough at you. Next up is this little baby. It's just a lot of dark. I think the pipe just will wean off to the right hand side, but I can't see that because that is beyond the paper. But I'm gonna have a bit of a darker tone towards the right just to make sure. Bring in that. Let's go to the top part, to this one here, the big one that has again those screws. So let's shade this first. This one is a bit more tricky because it has the curvature on the upper part, and that makes that I have to shade on the lower part and feather it out towards the top. And there will be a little bit of light on the upper part here, only a little bit because this one will probably shade the lower one, if you know what I mean. But once you have the principle of light and dark, of light and shadow down, it's a simple yes and no question in your head. Is this, does light hit here or not? And then depending on what answer you can give yourself in your head, you know how to choose your color for it and where to place your shadows. It's a bit daunting in the beginning, I admit, but don't worry, you're gonna get the hang of it. And it is logical. There's natural laws for it in physics, and you can apply those. And then you don't have to second guess yourself. Just question yourself, okay, in your scenery, where's the light source, and how will the surroundings or the things that you draw or paint or color, how will they respond to light at a certain point, and choose your colors accordingly. Darks for the shadows, lights for the lights, mid-tone to blend things into each other. Okay. That was my last cup of tea. And I'm going to color in the last 2 pipes, again going on the lower part and on the inner part, but not too much because there's 3 light bulbs. So I have a little bit of a shadow around here. Something like this. Bring in a little more of the dark down here, because this pipe crossing will cast a shadow as well. And then it's time for the last pipe, and there I do have a bit of a light from the right, so I will have dark here, and it will be a bit more dark on the left hand side, because the shadow will be not so heavy since the light source is so close, and with the pipes it will bounce off of the other pipes, because when it comes to glass and metal, light bounces a lot. And then you will have a little more of the lighter parts than you would have otherwise if you had other materials. So there we go, all the pipes. Ta-da! Now I can, I think you are for this one. Yes, and you go for this one. Now I can go in with the lightest warm gray that I kept so far, and I want to have this box colored with a warm gray. I will add the buttons with another color. Same goes for this bit here. I want this to be in a warm gray. Same here. And also here. Oh, there's a pipe that I forgot up here. So let's go to the dark. Again, I'm using warm grays for that. And like this. Now I want to have black for the buttons here. This panel here. Also for these bits. And they will be warm gray. This looks very 60s to me. I think I want the cold gray, the lightest cold gray for the screws. I was thinking warm gray for the longest time, but I think I want cold gray. It's just a little more fitting, I think, and have a little mid cold gray tone applied here as something like a shadow, maybe. Same here. And those buttons up there, I want a bit of the Payne's gray and why not the darkest warm gray. I will go through things and add final little details with a white gel pen, so I'm okay that I'm going maybe a bit darker here than I was thinking in the beginning. So on this panel here, there's 4 black buttons, and this one will be white in the middle. They will be black. Same here. And there's also already black. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Here has to be some black and some Payne's gray. Payne's gray here. Here and here. So I'm choosing Payne's gray now for the details because I'm having warm gray in the surroundings, so I'm choosing the opposite to have as much contrast as possible. A bit of the black, cold gray for the screws down here. They are a bit of the darker screws because they make for a nicer contrast, and then, excuse me, light comes from, a little bit of light comes from the right hand side, so the first screw will be having a little less shadow than all the others. Now I bring in the gel pen to go around and add a little white here and there, like here for example. I like to do that last when I have colored everything, not once I have colored a section. So for example, there's a bit of light bouncing off here from that light bulb, and there's a part that I forgot to color, so let's color it in. Here I'm just adding a little bit on the left hand side. The contrast is way better, of course, when I have white gel pen on top of a dark color, but I'm coloring, or I'm putting it in anyways, no matter if there's a light surrounding or a dark surrounding, just to make sure it's complete, it's there, and when somebody views it up close, they can see, oh, I put a highlight, because there is a highlight, even if the contrast is maybe not as awesome. So I'm just adding a tiny bit, very little, here, and also here. Okay, and now I need to fill in the light bulbs. So I'm taking the blue gray that I used for the background, but I'm not using it in the diluted way, but in the pure marker way. And I'm going around and on the inner parts of the light bulbs, just to not have them being lost on the page, because Well, usually I would have maybe a yellow tone or something, very light yellow. But for this purpose here, I'm going for a bluish gray, and they are, I don't know, LED lights with a cold light. Something like this. Last thing I'm gonna do is add a little detail here and there on the pipes, just where I feel that a little white would do some good. Not everywhere. And I'm looking for patterns that were already printed. So these plates or whatever this is, I think that's already that. So that is, as you can see, very different from last week's coloring. But this is what happens when you have a different kind of supply. You're working with a different material. And you can, if you have both and you, well, want to not have the same way of coloring all the time, you can mix it up. You can do one thing in this kind of style, very smooth, very blended. And then you can have a bit more of the wilder, almost cartoon-like coloring. This is way more cartoon to me than this is. This is more almost like a print, an art print, quite the smooth parts and then some bumpy parts standing out. So if you think about newspapers or some digital art prints and such, so yeah, blah, talking difficult. So I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you have any questions or comments, as per usual, leave them in the comment section below. The blog post for this will be up today, about an hour after this video is published. You can see close-up photos of this thing, as well as a list of materials I used, the exact numbers and names of all the markers that I used and such, in case you want to maybe buy them open stock because you really liked what you saw and want to try them out in exactly those shades. I thank you very much for watching. I'm going to be back next week with another color gray video. I haven't decided yet if I want to go with watercolors or with color pencil yet. Yeah, I don't know yet. You will find out. I will find out as well. Have fun, guys. Take good care. If you're new and you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. I would love that and very much appreciate it. And have a wonderful day. Bye.